Hey y'all, it's Coach Jake again with JP, and now we're going to demonstrate some of the actual mobility and stretching warm-ups that we do also for muscle activation. And this is JP's specific warm-up that we've actually designed for her here at TriFitness Gym to use when she comes in getting prepared for the rest of her exercise program for that day. So the first exercise we're actually going to do, and you can use a chair at home. Most of these are easily done anywhere, so it doesn't necessarily matter where you're at. The first thing we're going to do is going to be for our hips. It's going to be a hip open and close. So we're going to go ahead and have JP using her right leg balancing on the chair as needed to open and close that hip. Right? Bring it up, bring it out, bring it down, bring it back up, bring it in, bring it down. Okay, we like to get that full range of motion to try to make sure that she's getting everything she needs before she gets into the rest of her program. So she's going to keep a good tall chest, try to make sure her belly button is pointing forward the entire time so she doesn't have any of that pelvic sway or any of her spine rotation. So what she's going to do today is one set of 10 on each side, but usually we would have you do about 2 sets of 10 on each side. You don't want to go to a fatigue point, but you definitely want to know that your hips are warming up. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch sides here. Again, focus on safety first. So if you're feeling anything weird in your lower back or you're having any issues with this with your hip, reset, make sure we're getting good engagement in the lower abdominals, we're keeping a strong core, our belly button is facing forward the entire time. We try to do that again. We want full range of motion in the hip joint. We don't want to try to get any range of motion out of the spine, especially in our lower back, because that could cause issues over time. And this is the hip open and close. All right, so we'll be moving on here in just a second. She can go ahead and finish up with those. Another hip exercise, we're going to do a hip flex and extend. Okay, I'll demonstrate a little bit from the side. So what that'll be is we'll be driving up and driving back. Okay, again, we talked about this in the beginning. Don't let those hips move. So the thing you want to do here again is you want to tuck the pelvis, turn on the lower abs, chin and chest tall, flex forward and back. All right, we'll have JP go ahead and demonstrate that. Nice control, chin and chest tall, strong in your feet, good balance. Good. So in the back, she's making sure she's not getting any of that real hard tilt of the pelvis so she's not getting her lower back jammed up. Making sure we're trying to get a good glute engagement, get your butt to actually hold some of that muscle tight and get those hips in the front to get some of that flexion. Again, you don't want to fatigue yourself, but you want to get to where you're actually warming up. All right, ready to switch sides? Breathing deep the whole time, working on good tall posture, nice and controlled. All right, y'all, again, this is for healthy aging overall. We're not really trying to push ourselves to the limit every single day. We're trying to maintain that ability to do the activities of daily living. So try to focus on making sure your biomechanics and your movement is really what you're trying to improve. And this is gonna get us into that full range of motion. So when we move on to those strength exercises, we're actually ready. How are we doing, JP?
Doing okay.
Doing good? All right, so now we're gonna move on to some feet engagement, okay? Working on some ankle flexion, working on some toes, your heels, plantar fasciitis, all those things, your plantar fascia actually working. So we're gonna have JP stand again to the side of the chair and use the chair as needed, okay? So I want you to work a little bit on balance though. That's why I don't want her standing behind it. I want her to have to control it some, all right? So we're gonna dig those toes in as we push forward, pull those toes to the forehead, dig those toes in, pull those toes to the forehead, really engaging all those muscles of feet, waking everything up. And you can do all this barefoot. I mean, if you're at home, definitely. Make sure that you got a good comfortable base here with a chair, that you're not overextending yourself, that you're getting that good warm up for your feet, your ankles, calves. All right, breathe deep, JP. Next thing we're gonna be working on, y'all, is we're gonna go to the ground here. We're gonna give some of JP's ground warm up exercises.
I love being on the ground, Jay.
Things are easy there, huh? So we're gonna go ahead here. We're gonna do our 90-90 stretch. So JP's gonna go ahead and get comfortable here on her mat. All right, so face up.
You want me to face this way?
Yes, ma'am. So go ahead and bring one leg forward and one leg back. Yep, perfect. Why do we call it the 90-90, JP?
Well, because this is 90 and this is 90.
Yes, ma'am, perfect.
Degrees.
Okay, so she's gonna take a couple deep breaths, try to elongate her spine as she rolls over the forward of the knee here. She's getting a good solid stretch in the glute area and in her hips. And then she's feeling a little bit of stretch back here in her hip flexors as well. 3 deep breaths at each position. So once she gets about 3 deep breaths, and you can hold that position for as long as you need to feel a good solid stretch. And then we're gonna reach straight back for the next one. Hold for 3 solid breaths. So now come all the way back, JP, and bounce, stay there, no, stay there. So now we're gonna go straight back, nice control, all the way, put your hands behind you and stretch this side. Yeah, so keep coming back, yeah. So now she's gonna have this stretch here, right here on these hip flexors as well. Keep your hip down here, engagement, stretch, stretch, stretch. This is gonna work the internal, external rotators of the hip, and she's having to use a little bit of strength to keep this left leg down to the ground. So that's the ultimate goal, is to get some good stretch in here and also use some of that muscle to warm up. So we're gonna go back and forth twice today. I would say at least 3, maybe 5 times if you were at home doing this, all right? Again, a hold for like 3 to 5 deep breaths. You just wanna focus in on a good stretch. The ultimate goal is to make sure that you're getting those good muscles activated and stretched to get some good blood flow before we get into the rest of our warm-up and the rest of our workout. All right, reaching back here, and then we will switch sides. As you can tell, we're always coaching breathing. We're always coaching breathing. We want to try to get you as relaxed as possible during this part of the warm-up. So let's switch sides, JP, so you can actually get out of that fight or flight and get into some of that rest and relaxation to allow for the full range of motion of what you're doing. That's the biggest thing we're trying to do, is make sure that you don't have any limited range of motion that we then take you into a strength exercise and you can't get to a proper position that's gonna keep you healthy and moving. All right, JP, let me hear you breathe deep. Try to extend that spine all the way down long. Looking good. How the hips feeling?
I feel them.
This isn't an easy stretch for anybody. Basically, due to our daily lives, we end up with so much tightness in our hips because we don't move a whole lot dynamically. And that's why you see a lot of our exercises, we try to get dynamic movement because our hips have full range of motion, right? If you're just going linear forward and back all the time, it's not giving you a lot of that full range of motion that stretches the hips like they need to be on a consistent basis. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you're doing this before you get into your exercise program, to allow for proper blood flow, to allow for proper movement, and to allow for proper healing after the exercise program. Try to keep that leg down there in the front, JP. There we go. And as always, y'all, you're gonna have to have that coaching. Coach yourself. Listen to what we're saying here, but coach yourself too. Think about what it is you're supposed to be doing with that exercise, because there is a reason. We're not just trying to push you to sweat. All right, JP, the next thing we're actually gonna go to is we're gonna have you on your back here. We're gonna be working on some neck engagement, or really it's gonna be working on some spinal retraction here. So we're gonna tuck the chin a little bit, and then she's gonna try to push her head into the mat. Couple deep breaths, about 3 to 5 seconds, and then release, and then right back, okay? And we'll do that for about 5 to 10 reps. So again, as you can see here, JP is tucking her chin down and pushing back to engage all the muscles of the neck and actually stretch some of the muscles of the neck as well. So that's some of that spinal retraction, but that's also getting a good stretch and engagement of the muscles. And a lot of us have that forward head posture because of everything we do nowadays. So we really need to try to focus in on trying to keep good neutral spine as much as possible.